the most diverse city in the Commonwealth with more than 63 languages spoken, directly from Malden, Massachusetts. This is Culture Matters.
Cultura importa.
La cultura importa.
摩顿市关注文化。
Culture Matters in Malden.
Welcome to Culture Matters in Malden, a podcast that uses arts and culture as a lens to explore important themes relevant to the Malden community. I am Kimani, your host for this episode. Today we will be discussing Malden's newly established City Climate Action Plan. I, along with my two other classmates, Molly and Sarah, have been working at Urban Media Arts, or UMA, as interns to provide information to Malden's youth and general population about this very important plan that will affect the city in the coming years. I hope this information will inspire those of you listening to get involved with the plan, for we as youth can agree that we're all affected by climate change. It makes sense then that we should be a part of the conversation and see what our city is doing to address the climate change. I want to introduce our very special guest, first-gen immigrant and Malden resident, Ayuska Tamang.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. I feel like it's so crazy being on a podcast. This is so good to get the word out about this very important issue.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. So, how was your day today?
My day was good. I was a little bit busy in the morning. I went to college because I took a college course in Boston. Yeah, for criminology.
Very good. That's such an interesting major. I've always wondered what it's like to study that. Although I do want to study like psychology or something.
That's actually what I signed up for, but since it was full, like,
Are you doing psych at school?
No, I wanted to.
Oh, I think we're doing psych.
I don't think I got in. I got into like.
They still have not made the
autonomous.
schedule.
No, to this day.
Yeah.
I don't even know what I'm supposed to be doing for
I
summer
don't.
homework.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, the summer homework.
Nobody knows what they're doing. We're all just aimless for real.
Yeah.
But yeah, I feel like this is so important. I'm so glad to have you all on here. I want everyone to introduce themselves, as I just introduced myself. So I'll start with you, Sarah. Just say your name and a little bit about you.
Sarah Job. I'm interning at UMA. And yeah.
Okay, you're not a rising senior. Or
Yeah. I'm a rising senior.
Okay.
I'm excited to be a senior, guys. I'm ready to graduate, start my life.
Definitely,
100%.
definitely. All right. So to start us off, I want to just give a little bit of background about our internship and the steps that we've been taking. We all received this internship in late May, early June as we were finishing up school. And like once we got that email, we were just so excited to like figure out how we were going to do this in the best way possible and go about this in a way that would be representative of how important the plan really is. And so me, Sarah, and Molly have just been working on the rough drafts of the article that we're going to be publishing on the Neighborhood View website. Sarah's actually the head writer for that.
Okay.
So yeah, we're doing that, and as well as the visual podcast portion to just show the message of the plan in the audio and visual way. And yeah, another step that I feel like that was really important in making all of this happen was meeting with the mayor last week.
With our article, we're doing more of a journalistic thing rather than like something that's more of an essay that you would see in schools. So we thought it was important to interview different like city officials that would definitely have something to say on the plan. And one of those was the mayor. We interviewed with him like last, what would you say? Like what day did we do it?
I believe it was last Thursday.
Yeah.
Okay.
We interviewed him last Thursday. We had some questions about like, what do you think the plan will do with like creating transparency between citizens and like government officials and things like that, and like why the city created this plan and like what it's been doing since before the plan. And he was really helpful, as well as like when he wasn't fully equipped to answer a certain question, he gave us some names of people who could, and we definitely reached out to those people, and we're planning to meet with them as well to get like a more full circle sort of like interview. Yeah.
Like the full picture.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. He also introduced us to Rebecca McFeeters. I believe she was like very, like, I feel like she said that she took on the project of the city climate action plan and was basically running it, and she
for about 7 months.
for 7 months. And so she gave us very good insight about how businesses will be incorporated and how municipal buildings will be converted and updated in the coming years in terms of how they're run, like energy wise and things like that, which was so cool to figure that out with her and to get her perspective. So yeah, that's just how it's been for us in our internship. I feel like we've learned so much in terms of like writing, like professionalism, things like that, and also like like stuff that we've always been wanting to do. Like this is like a podcast. Like I feel like everyone that has a podcast right now.
Yeah.
So I feel like doing this about something that's so important is so cool and like very relevant, and I feel like people will want to listen. Yeah. Okay, I feel like we should just jump right in. All right. First of all, how long have you been a Malden resident?
I'd say, so I moved here like in 3rd grade. Now I'm a senior, so it's been like almost
About 9 years.
Yeah, almost 10. Yeah,
Almost 10. Dang.
Yeah, honestly.
So when you moved to Malden, did you feel like a sort of welcoming presence? Did you feel like you were represented in the classroom, like in terms of your classmates and demographic and things like that?
Yeah, definitely. I did. Everybody was very welcoming. It was very, one thing I noticed about Malden and Malden schools in general is like it's very diverse. So I didn't really have to like worry about like anything like racial, you know, like everyone was just welcoming, and it was easy to have friends.
That's wonderful. Yeah. How do you feel about climate change in general? Like, has it been on your mind? I feel like it's so seen in social media and talked in passing, but nobody really, like, as much as there's solutions out there, like the basic reuse, reduce, and recycle and things like that. How do you feel about it? Like, how do you integrate it into your own life, or how do you see it?
I feel like everybody knows like it's important, but at the same time I feel like it's not talked about enough, or like even if people do talk about it, it's just like you said, it's like passing, you know, like they just like say, oh yeah, climate change, oh, you know, like sometimes like during the summer they're like, oh, because of climate change it's hotter, but that's all, you know. There's not like, I feel like there is more like complaints about it than like there are like solutions.
Definitely, I see what you're saying.
As like a student of the Malden like public school and private school, do you think that you've like received education on it through those routes, or do you think that they could do like a better job on that front?
I really do think they can do a way better job on it, because like even till now, like, you know, I've heard about climate change like throughout also like social media as well.
Definitely.
But like I don't really understand like the depths of it, you know what I mean? I know like it's like negative, it's bad for the earth, but like I don't really know like why. So
Yeah, definitely, it's very important. Have you seen any significant changes in the weather patterns in the city? Like, we can see the extreme heat for sure, but like extreme rainpour. I remember like one summer, I don't know if it was a year ago or 2 years ago, like it literally rained all summer.
Yeah.
Literally like every day.
It's been raining this summer too.
Yeah, this summer.
Yeah,
like,
it'll be hot.
Be
yeah.
120 degrees.
Literally.
It'll be burning your flesh
Literally.
off.
But like
it'll
be
start raining for hours from like
Yeah.
7 p.m. until you wake back
Yeah.
up.
I
And
remember,
like it's gloom and doom and terrible.
I remember one time it was like a morning that it was super duper hot and like muggy outside.
Oh yeah.
And then in the evening it was like lightning and thunder.
Yeah,
and
that's
no,
happened,
what's
like,
going
the
on.
last
And then the
2
sky
weeks,
gets
yeah.
gray.
Yeah. And also like, you know, I feel like we haven't seen a snowstorm in a long
I know.
time.
And I feel like the thing that I don't like about people, especially in social media, I feel like people always talk about it, but they don't really like, I feel like they make a joke out of certain things like that. Like I genuinely get worried. Like we usually get out of school. Like our school is a private school, so it doesn't operate like the average public school. So we get earlier. Traditionally we get out earlier, and we usually leave on June 7th, and we're wrapped up by June 7th, and then we have our finals week, so we're really, really done.
Yeah.
By like the 15th or the 16th. But this year we got out of school on May 31st. And the reason why it's always pushed is because of the snow days. and the time that we take off. But this year we had like basically no snow days.
Literally.
And it was like, I was like, we live in Mass. Like, it's always like been a thing that it's
always
freezing
snowing.
cold.
Yeah.
And it was, guys, I was so afraid because it was like 70 degrees on New Year's Eve, and I was genuinely sitting there,
Like,
and
what?
I was so confused
I
because it was
know.
New Year's Eve and it was 70 degrees. Like, everyone was posting about it. They're like, guys, why is it 70 degrees
Yeah.
on New Year's Eve? Like, this makes no sense.
Exactly.
And it was terrifying. Like, it
Yeah.
should be snowing
It
in
should
December.
Exactly.
It should not be fall weather in December.
Oh, and then people would just be like, "Oh, the nice weather, like it's hot, like let's be outside." But it's like, let's start recycling, guys. Like, let's be
Start
for real.
recycling.
Like, it's really bad outside. Like, and I feel like so many people know about this, but it's
Mhm.
like nobody knows what to do at this point. Because I feel like, I don't know if you guys ever saw those posts on social media, but it was like you have 2 more months before climate change sets in for real, and then. But I think it was like 2019. But then like people like we're seeing the real effects in real time,
Yeah.
and it's only 2024. And according to the city's climate action plan, we're supposed to as a community supposed to be achieving net zero emissions, or is that the
Yeah.
net zero emissions by 2050 according to the Massachusetts mandate.
Yeah.
And so I feel like by the time we even reach that, will it get worse or will it get better? Because you know what I mean? Because by
Yeah,
that we'll
no,
be grown
Yeah.
adults and things like that. So I feel like, I don't know. I feel like what I think about the most is like, will our kids or will the next generation even experience like a Christmas?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like
Snow and
things like
'Cause
that.
I'm thinking now that like when you hear 2050, you don't think about how like far away that is kind
Mhm.
of, but then like you really think about it, that's in like 16 years.
Yeah.
That's literally
Like that's double our lifetime.
Yeah.
We're going to be like in our 30s by the
Mhm.
time that this is
Yeah.
achieved,
Yeah.
and we'll probably be like planning or having children by then and like not knowing the effects. And like I always think about how like kids in the future will not know certain things that we know because like or certain animals will go extinct. Like for me
Exactly.
personally, like my favorite animal is polar bears.
Oh.
And
Mhm.
because of climate
Big
change,
part,
like
yep.
they're really endangered, and probably by 2050 like our children may not know what like polar bears
Yeah.
are.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's really, really sad. And I feel like the main problem is like, and I feel like the reason why it doesn't get attention as much as it should is because people just don't care about lower classes. People who are in excessive wealth are not going to take the time to really consider who will be affected first. But it's inevitably urban cities like this that will experience extreme heat, flooding, because we're literally on top of each other in terms of like buildings. Like
Yeah.
if you literally look outside in the street, like it's just so
Buildings on
close,
buildings, yeah.
like such close proximity. And there's so many apartments in Malden. Like there are of course houses, like regular homes, single families and things like that, but a lot of people live in these like more so condensed areas. And I feel like that whole like flooding and like this extreme heat will just hit those communities harder. And you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I feel like I'm not
100%.
making sense, but that's
No, I get what you mean.
yeah. But yeah. How do you feel Malden residents would have would receive this plan? How do you feel like Malden residents would react after reading this plan, or do you feel like they will really implement these changes into their lives, or do you feel like they're more so standoffish and won't really care?
I personally think that like if we do like get like hire people involved and like spread it to like, you know, like for example, like I work for like Malden Rec, and Malden Rec is run by Joe Levine, and like if people like Joe Levine like knows like about like this plan, I 100% like I feel like he would like, you know, spread awareness, and like just it's really about like who's like the influencer, you know what I mean? Like
Yes.
so definitely because Malden also like I feel like they're very like they are, how do I put it, like if there's something that needs to be done or needs to be fixed, I feel like as a community we could get it done.
Yeah, definitely. I feel like it's so. I used to live in Stoneham, and I feel like since moving to Malden, like I've seen so much community, so much outreach. Like I don't even know to this day who the mayor of Stoneham is. That's no shade at all. But I feel like Mayor Gary Christensen is so involved, and he really cares about the community and makes an effort to really get in touch with the citizens of Malden. And even where he was speaking to us, he asked us so many background questions, like really trying to get to know us, and really made an effort to understand what our concerns were with the plan, and like was even like giving us the lists of other names of other people who could help us and give us more answers regarding the plan and its effects and things like that. So I feel like you said, power in high places, definitely. I feel like people like that, like the mayor, will, if they say something, people will definitely and they give clear, accurate solutions. Yeah. Like people will definitely follow along. Yeah, definitely.
I agree.
I feel like a large part of it is virality, like you said,
definitely.
Getting people in higher places, because when there was this whole like movement of like trying to save turtles and stuff, and like we got this thing where it's like you need to stop having plastic straws now. Like you go to most places and your straws are dissolving in your cup, and you know what I mean.
Yeah,
they got rid of the plastic straws because of that movement, and it lasted. You know, they didn't just bring it back after, because it's been like paper straws for about like 4 to 5 years now, and paper bags. Like you go to CVS,
paper bags.
Like I can't even remember a time when they had plastic bags anymore. Like it's just all paper bags. So I feel like once you like make it a thing where you start demanding more from like organizations, they're gonna have to keep up, or they'll like get out of touch, and like you know what I mean.
Especially regarding that, like and I want to actually touch on this, because since we do attend a Catholic school, we are required to take theology, of course, all 4 years, and unless you take AP seminars as a junior and then AP research as a senior. But in my theology class, theology 3, like we were learning about climate change and the effects of it, or rather how we're supposed to treat creation, God's creation, in terms of taking care of it and respecting it and things like that. And so we watched the story of stuff, and I forget what her name was, but she was just going in depth about how corporations literally run the world. And after World War II, to get the U.S. economy back on its feet, consumerism was a necessary evil. I guess was a necessary evil to get the economy to its former standing. And I feel like that that tradition of just buying and buying and buying has just stayed in America so much, and I feel like that's really where we fall. Like that, I feel like that's like the biggest part of what is holding us back in terms of our climate. And for example, like people will buy 50 Stanley cups. They only got one mouth. They only got one mouth to feed. Like you know what I mean? Like I feel like people always want the latest thing, and I feel like corporations like TikTok Shop. Yeah. Like you're buying all these Skims dupe sets, but like where's that gonna go in the next 5 years when it's like disheveled? Like where's you know what I mean? So I feel like definitely I agree with you, Sarah, like holding companies accountable, because I feel like these mass production companies like Shein, things like that, no hate to anyone who buys from these places, guys, like for real, like save your money, but I feel like they're the leading causes of like the mass consumerism. And I feel like people in higher places, like the president, our Congress people, our representatives, should be really pushing for a stop in consumerism in America, or limiting what we can buy. But I feel like money runs the world right now, and I feel like
because
it's just so sad.
Limitations would probably anger a lot of people, as well as just like maybe because it's been the way that it runs for so long, it could harm the economy in that aspect. But I feel like kind of just putting in things that don't really, I don't know, like they don't affect what you can purchase, but they better it for the economy, like the same way as like the paper straws, where it's like you are still getting your drink and you're still drinking it, but it's better for the environment. You know what I'm saying? Or the paper bags are like you're still getting your groceries and you still take them into your car, but it's better for the environment. I think things like that, where it's like you still get what you need, but it's better for the environment. And it's definitely possible, but I don't think people are like worried about that.
Yeah, people aren't worried about that. Yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely possible because, like, you guys remember, I don't know, like Dunkin's, they used to have like styrofoam cups, like for like hot chocolate or like coffee, but they got rid of it. You know what I mean? Because you know it was like bad for the environment. So see, like companies, they can definitely find.
They can
solutions.
change it. Yeah,
They
me neither.
can.
I just remember. I don't even remember the time I had a styrofoam.
Chocolates like
Yeah,
all the time. I
right.
didn't
Yeah.
even realize
Right.
that. Yeah.
So it's like, are companies willing to do it too? You know,
Yeah.
because it's like, yes, like we can like, you know, ask for it, but they gotta.
Yeah, they're not gonna be willing to do it unless people demand it.
Yeah.
Because it's cheaper to stay to the old way.
Yeah.
And I feel like with what you said, I feel like the biggest problem in America is like the government can and should do so many things for us in terms of keeping the climate at a respectable, like where we can all like survive and there's not extreme flooding, but they just purposely choose to allow things to happen to the point where it's like people are seeing the effects and they just don't do anything. Like, for example, like with seatbelts. Like, nobody wanted to wear seatbelts in the 70s, or I think it was the 80s when they mandated seatbelts and kids not to sit in the front seat.
Yeah.
It was like a whole uproar for keeping people safe.
Right.
So they could do those things. They could do things to keep the U.S. like people safe, but they just purposely choose to, chase the money and
and they just like say it's not a real thing. But
they just say it's not a real thing. But it's like at the end of the day, like as much as money like means a lot to the way that we live our lives, and I feel like in America it's just money just so glorified. Like we really worship it here in comparison to a lot of other countries. Like I feel like the day will come like we cannot eat money, we cannot breathe money. It's really just like a tangible thing, but like I feel like our environment is so much more important. Yeah, that's what's
gonna end up like the one slur.
No, literally, just cutting down all the trees until so we can get more thneeds, and we're the thneeds now. No, oh my gosh, yeah, yeah. But I just want to get your perspective. Like, after looking over the climate action plan, what are your general thoughts? Like, what was something that was very striking to you when you looked it over?
Well, I felt like when I first logged in or opened the link, I was like, I didn't expect so many pages. You know what I was like,
they were really
did
thorough.
you guys
Very
make
in-depth.
it? Did you guys
Yeah, we read it.
Yeah,
we read it.
Yeah, and I was like, wow, like this, like it can really help people. Like you just gotta all people gotta do is take time and reading, you know what I mean, and looking through the plan. And even if it's not you don't read it, if let's say you read it and she didn't, you can just go and tell her you don't have to she doesn't have to read it, but if you just tell her,
communicate
getting
the
just
word out.
Spread the word. That's key.
Yeah.
So, and the papers, I didn't not
you didn't get
all
too in depth.
no, but I like the graphs, the
graphics.
yeah, and all of that, that was really I feel like it's useful because people need to visual learners.
Yeah,
too,
visual learners.
And it's good for when you're on the go, because not everyone has time to
Right.
sit and go
down
through
and
60
read.
pages of it.
Yeah.
But it gives you different categories. So if you
Yeah.
can find what you're looking for, there's different categories underneath each section about how you can help specifically. And it's vote or
Exactly.
go to these organizations and do these things. And it's it's quick and easy. And I think that's really important.
Yeah, and I also really appreciate how they made, and every slide, I don't know if I can show this on here. I don't know if I can get it up. But they have the goal and how it will be achieved.
And what they have so far.
And what they have it so far and how they're planning to have it. For example, in terms of electric cars for city vehicles. When they were talking about the electric vehicles and reducing the amount of gas used in the police cars, fire trucks, things like that, they highlighted the fact that we can try as much as we can, but this is our threshold. We cannot for police and firefighting vehicles, I don't know about that one, but I know definitely for the police, they cannot institute or implement electric cars
they don't
because
have
gas it's just so much faster, especially in terms of emergency.
They just don't have the technology yet, is what we talked to the mayor about that actually. And when we asked him what's keeping it from reaching a higher percentage of electrical and what's better for the environment, he said that currently we just don't have the technology that could replace what
Right.
we've been depending on so long, especially when you need to get to like an emergency as quickly as
from
possible.
point A to point B.
Yeah,
like
because
that.
electric cars are more like cruising cars, and they're not built for like high
Yeah.
speed. Like
High speed,
that.
yeah.
So he was like,
yeah.
by 2050, we wouldn't have that technology, which
Yeah.
I feel like that's just another example of them like not kind of like
Yeah,
taking
and
it as serious.
I feel like honestly, some gas cars are better than no, like, electric cars. You know what I mean? I feel like
Mhm.
them helping and like making that first step is definitely very important. And I think he said like all the parking patrol cars in Malden are electric right now. I'm not sure. Don't at me, guys, but like
Yeah, and
yeah.
getting at more charging ports and things like that.
Yeah.
Because he's also talking about in case the cars, like the batteries die like mid like chase or like on your way to an emergency.
Oh, yeah.
Like it would just be really bad.
It would be really bad, yeah. Especially because there's more gas stations than
Yeah.
charging ports,
And
obviously.
and I did hear like it takes a little bit time to like charge too. So.
Yeah, it does. And like if you've ever been like in the car when a police car's coming behind you, like when you have to pull over, like they're going fast. They're going really, really fast,
Very,
like 60
very
miles an
fast.
hour in like a civilian, like regular street, not on the highway. So yeah, it's really, really, yeah, it just makes more sense.
Yeah.
But yeah, in your opinion, how do you feel the youth of Malden could help make Malden a greener community? Like, what do you feel like in your personal friend group, I could say, what could they do to help make it greener here?
I don't know if it's
Malden?
like cliche, but like I feel like gardening, like
Yeah.
for sure. Like, you know, some people they have like some people I've noticed like they don't even have like a background for like a backyard for real. You know what I mean? It's just like clear cement or like maybe there's a pool or just something. And I feel like if you get a little more like greens, you know, or like if you have a backyard, then you should like garden, you know, like whether it's fruits or vegetables.
Things like that, yeah.
Yeah, or like
It's
even
always- yeah.
flowers.
It's also healthier because they literally put wax on apples, guys. Please wash your apples thoroughly. Like
Yeah.
So I honestly feel like in terms of like health, like that's way better. Some people don't have that luxury of gardening, but I feel like some people do, and
Like-
those who can should. It's also good for your health to get out in the sun and things like that. So definitely, yeah. So one other really great goal that they have established in Malden right now, they recently set up multiple bike stations around the city. There's actually one near me and Sarah's house.
Oh,
To promote greener living. Like as a young citizen of Malden, do you feel like people our age will be receptive to them, or do you feel like that'll mostly be for adults? Do you feel like it's mostly like what demographic do you feel like that will
I feel
help?
like it is useful because you know like some people they don't have like cars or like you know even like maybe like kids our age like school or like they need to get somewhere like you know they don't have like the luxury of like you know getting picked up or whatever. So I feel like that's a smart like investment.
Yeah, I feel like it's definitely a good investment. I also feel like in cities like Somerville, like and like Greater Malden, Greater Boston, like they've really implemented like biking routes and making it helpful for people to bike to work and elsewhere.
I remember like a few years ago there was like something called like a lime bike, I think, and it was like a lime green bike, and then they got rid of it. And you know like before like I saw like the bikes like everywhere, you know what I mean? People would use it and it was very convenient, I feel like. And once they got rid of it, I used to be like, oh, where did the bikes go? So I feel like yes, like it is like it's good that it's coming back.
Exactly, yeah. I feel like especially like so many kids, like I always see like I don't want to bring this up like the bike life. Like I feel like so many kids like our age like ride bikes and stuff. So many kids who can't really afford that or you know what I mean? Just want to hang out with their friends. I feel like that could also be useful for them.
So much
I think we're gonna pull around to our last question, guys, and then we can just wrap up. It is outlined in the city's plan that there will hopefully be resilience hubs set up in Malden with cooling stations to help Malden residents. Do you feel this change is superfluous or a necessity in this community? And I want to give everyone who's listening or watching a brief background on what resilience hubs are. According to the internet, they are essentially like safe havens for people to cool down or get necessities like blankets or food in case of an extreme emergency, like extreme heat or flooding or things like that, if their house floods or something like that, somewhere that they can go in Malden where they can feel like, you know, they're not completely and totally left on the street.
Yeah.
So I feel like what do you have to say about that? How do you feel like this could help?
That's something that I feel like every like city should have something like that, you know, just like about, because you never know, like with also like Mother Nature and like everything, like, yeah, I feel like that's, you know, so people also feel secure in a way, you know, and I think that's also like a good like idea to like invest in and bring.
I think it would be great for the houseless like population for any city, like if they implemented it more, especially with climate change making the different weather like catastrophes so much like stronger, that these people would definitely need somewhere to go that offers like heating and AC and stuff like that. So I think those like institutions are really important.
Yes,
exactly.
And also like today actually, like in my criminology class, we were talking about how like, you know, like prisoners or like just like homeless people, like when, you know, like if they don't have like a good lifestyle or like they don't have like a job and stuff, and you don't really have anything to look forward to, and it's like, and if you're like overstimulated, because you know like the heat makes you like very overstimulated, like that, you can like, you know, with like anger, with nothing to do, like nowhere to go, like people, you know, there's more crimes as well. And I feel like if you have like, you know, places like these for like people, then like it'd be very convenient in many ways, like different ways, you know.
Yeah, I definitely do see that. It's not frequent, but I do see houseless individuals in Malden like every now and then.
Yeah,
I feel like I just feel so bad because even walking outside is just so hard.
It's terrible.
Yeah, it really is. Like, guys, please stay inside. Get nice
torture.
AC.
Slow torture. It's so bad,
bro. Cause we be like, you know, even like when you have to walk from point A to point B, you know, sometimes like you don't have like a car or something, like you're just like, oh my god, I just hope like that place has like an AC. You know, you be praying, and it's like,
and then this is where people sleep. Like they sleep outside. Like they're outside every day. Like they're
so
really
we gotta
baking.
help them
imagine
out,
the rain
you know?
at night and thunder that we look at, you know.
Yeah. So while we're in AC, like these people could really be getting heat stroke and things like that. So I feel like, not only that, just to have compassion for these people, honestly, or not even just these people, but people in general. I'm not trying to like make it seem like they're another class of human. Like I feel like everyone should just have that basic respect and like those basic needs, like food, water, shelter, no matter where you come from, no matter where you're going. Like I feel like these resilient hubs will very much help the citizens of Malden. And Rebecca McFeeters definitely did tell us about that. That was in the works. That was just an idea, I think she had said. But I feel like they will elaborate on that in the coming months. The mayor and the runner of the entire city's climate action plan said that they are very adamant about this plan and very adamant about how they feel about it. So in the coming months, honestly, guys, just do your research, look out for it, and so I feel like that was the last question. Thank you so much, Ayuska, for coming.
Yeah, no problem.
And giving us your responses. Thank you guys for listening to this episode of Culture Matters in Malden. I'm Joy Kimani, your host for this episode, and I've been speaking with Ayuska. For more information about Malden's climate action plan, check out the article I and my fellow interns Sarah and Molly wrote about one of the key goals of the climate action plan, championing good governance. You can read the article at neighborhoodview.org. And if you have any questions or concerns, feel free to offer comments at the end of the article. This show is produced and recorded at Urban Media Arts. Thank you so much.
Thanks for joining another episode of Culture Matters in Malden. That's a wrap on our show.
Culture Matters is a production of Urban Media Arts, or UMA, and is made possible in part by the funding from the Malden Cultural Council, an agency of the Massachusetts Cultural Council.